takes a lifetime to reach the pinnacle of world rugby, a childhood of sacrifice, a decade of professional dedication, all for one shot at glory. It took this man just 7 minutes to lose it all. This is a story of a two-time World Cup winner who had his dream career explode, triggering a hellish journey through repeat injuries, a freak accident, and a long international exile. It's the story of a man who lost everything and clawed his way back to become better than ever before. In 2019, RG Snyman was on top of the world, a towering giant of over 2 meters from South Africa. He was a new breed of rugby player. He was a lock with brute force of a traditional forward, but he moved with rare grace and had hand skills of a basketball player. Nicknamed the Viking for his imposing appearance, he was a key member of the Springbok squad that bulldozed their way to winning the Rugby World Cup. He was a world champion at just 24 years old. His talent was undeniable, and a blockbuster move to one of Europe's most storied clubs, Munster in Ireland, was his reward. He was hailed as a game-changing signing, the kind of player who could single-handedly turn a team into champions. Snyman wasn't just another player, he was the future. He was supposed to be unstoppable. He arrived in Ireland ready to conquer a new hemisphere, to build a new legacy on top of the one he already forged in green and gold. The stage was set for him to dominate. August 2020, RG Snyman ran onto the pitch at the Aviva Stadium for his Munster debut. It was a high-stakes clash against the arch-rivals Leinster. This was the moment everybody had been waiting for. For 7 minutes, it was everything Munster fans had dreamed of. Snyman was immense, poaching a Leinster lineout, showcasing his athleticism. But as he landed from a jump, something went catastrophically wrong. He went down in a heap. The game stopped. The silence in the stadium was deafening. After just 7 minutes of his new career, he was being carried off the field on a stretcher. The diagnosis was the one every athlete dreads, a torn ACL. His season was over before it had truly even begun. Munster's head coach, Johan van Graan, captured the devastation. We are all hugely disappointed for RG. After doing everything that was asked of him and working so hard to get into great shape, everyone feels for him right now. Snyman had moved across the world to prove his worth, and in just 7 minutes, his dream had turned into a nightmare. What followed wasn't just a comeback story, it was a descent into a living hell. The first ACL injury kicked off a brutal rehabilitation process, 14 months of relentless physiotherapy, strength training, psychological warfare with his own body. But just as he was fighting his way back, disaster struck again, this time off the field. In June 2021, during a weekend gathering with his teammates, a freak accident occurred. A petrol can exploded, engulfing Snyman and his Springbok teammate, Damien de Allender, in flames. Both suffered substantial burns to their legs, hands, and face, with Snyman's injuries being so severe they required skin graft surgery. It was a traumatic physical and psychological blow for a man already fighting to rebuild his body. The Viking was being torn apart, piece by piece. He pushed through the pain, the surgeries, and the setbacks. Finally, in October 2021, after more than a year of relentless work, he returned to the pitch for Munster. The relief was palpable. He came off the bench against the Scarlets, the crowd roaring for the Vikings' return. The nightmare seemed over. It's the last 9 minutes. 9 minutes after coming on as a substitute, Snyman's knee gave out again. In a moment of cruel irony, he had re-ruptured the very same ACL. It was a devastating blow that sent him back to square one, facing another year-long recovery. Munster defense coach Dennis Leamy captured the mood. Getting cruciated ligament injuries is so difficult. To get another one straight away after coming back is incredibly difficult. You can't understand how difficult that is. While his body was broken, the psychological toll was just as severe. His last test match for the Springboks had been the 2019 World Cup final. For nearly 4 years, he was an exile from the Springbok squad. He went from being a world champion to a forgotten man. He watched from hospital beds and physiotherapy tables as his teammates played on without him. The green and gold jersey he had fought so hard for must have felt a million miles away. The question was no longer just if his knee would heal, but if his spirit had been broken beyond repair. In the darkest moments, staring at a second major knee reconstruction, something shifted with RG Snyman. It wasn't just a single event, but a quiet internal decision. He refused to be beaten. Later, he would reflect on this period with a startling clarity. The injury made me stronger. It was the hardest time of my life. I'm stronger psychologically now. The pain became his fuel. The second rehabilitation was even more audacious. It was a lonely, soul-crushing grind of small movements and endless gym sessions. After 16 agonizing months, he finally made his return for Munster in March 2023. He didn't just get through the game, He proved his body could finally handle the brutal demands of professional rugby again. And then came the moment that validated everything. May 2023, in Cape Town, RG Snyman started in the URC Champions Final against the Stormers after 16 months of hell, after 2 ACL reconstructions, after skin graft and psychological torture. He was trusted to start the biggest match of Munster season. They won 19-14. The Viking was a champion again. His resilience did not go unnoticed. The Springbok coaches had never given up on him. In July 2023, after almost 4 years away from international rugby, RG Snyman was named to the Springbok squad for the Rugby World Cup. He had proven he could return to a rugby pitch, but his comeback was far from over. He was part of the squad that went on to win the 2023 Rugby World Cup in France. In the final against New Zealand, he came on as a substitute in the 52nd minute, a man who had fought through hell to earn his second World Cup winner's medal. The reconstruction was complete. After his injury plague but ultimately title-winning time at Munster, Snyman made a bold and controversial move in 2024, signing for the biggest rival, Leinster. It was a gamble for both player and club. Could his body hold up for a full season? Could he perform at the highest level consistently? What followed silenced every doubter. Snyman didn't just stay fit, he dominated. He put together a full season of such remarkable quality that his peers, the captains and vice-captains of every rival team in the URC, voted him URC Player of the Season for the season 2024-2025 campaign. He became the first South African to ever win the prestigious award. One opponent described him as a threat all over the park, very tough to play against. The Viking had not just returned, he had evolved into something more dangerous than before. The final chapter of his redemption story was written in November 2025, in the hostile atmosphere of the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, the very city his nightmare began. RG Snyman ran out for his 50th test for the Springboks against Ireland. It was a milestone he once feared he would never reach. I never thought I would be here throughout those years, he reflected. I thought it's something I wouldn't be able to achieve. So personally, it's special. The symmetry was perfect. The stadium, the same city, but a complete different man. RG Snyman's journey is more than a comeback. It's a resurrection. He went from a 7-minute debut disaster to a 9-minute curse. He survived a freak fire accident that required skin grafts and nearly 4 years of international exile. He endured 2 career-threatening knee surgeries and the crushing mental weight of being left behind while his teammates won without him. Yet, he refused to break. He absorbed every setback, every moment of doubt, every physical and psychological blow, and returned not just as the player he was, but as a stronger, more resilient, and more dominant force than ever before. His story is a powerful testament to the refusal to quit, the ability to endure unimaginable pain, and the profound belief that no matter how many times you get knocked down, you get up. Because that's what champions do. That's what the Viking does. If you found this story of resilience as incredible as we did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the most dramatic stories in rugby. Thank you for watching.